Welcome to an overview of the online Renaissance unit. An introduction to the Renaissance. The achievements of Greece and Rome come home. We started this year studying ancient Greece. And in ancient Greece, logic, reason, math, science, philosophy all really get going. And when Alexander the Great went out and conquered Persia, in northern Egypt, he spread those Greek ideas of logic and reason to those areas. Later on, when Rome comes into power, they're fascinated by the Greeks and they keep those ideas going as well. But eventually, as we saw, Rome fell. And with it, all these great ideas of the Greeks and the Romans disappeared in Europe along with them. But they were kept alive in the Middle East. Now, in our class, we were studying the Islamic Golden Age, the Muslim empires who were going out and gathering even more knowledge of the Greeks and the Romans to keep it alive. And it's going to be those Muslims who are going to be responsible for bringing logic, reason, the ideas of the Greeks and Romans back to Europe. These ideas spread throughout northern Africa, where new universities are being built, the first universities on earth, into Spain, where there is a Muslim caliphate there, and Europeans from places like England and France go down to Spain in these Muslim places to go to school. And eventually, the ideas of the Greeks and Romans come home. From Italy, the Renaissance ideas, the old ideas and fascination with Rome and Greece are going to spread throughout the rest of Europe and change the world forever. In this unit, you're going to be learning about some famous figures, like Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. Not those four. These four. Let's try that again. Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. You probably know Leonardo for painting the Mona Lisa. He did a lot more than that. You'll have a chance to research him and see what else he did. Michelangelo painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, among other things, and you might recognize this from our new Google Classroom background. It's the hand of Adam and the hand of God, and they are appropriately showing good social distancing there. They're not actually touching each other. Michelangelo is famous for other things. Again, you'll have a chance to research him and see what else he did. Donatello brought back like kind of Greek realistic and Roman realistic sculptures. Here is his famous David. Michelangelo is going to do an even more famous David out of marble. Finally, Raphael is famous for his paintings like this one of Plato's Academy, and here we can see the figure of Plato himself is actually Leonardo da Vinci, used as a model for it, which is kind of cool. These aren't the only famous Renaissance figures, though. There's Brunelleschi, who is going to make one of the most magnificent domes in all of architecture. He's going to do this in Florence. He would be another fascinating figure to research. And at the end of this unit, you're going to have a choice assignment. One of the options is creating a model. This might be a cool thing to build out of Legos. You might want to think ahead on that. In my opinion, the greatest of all Renaissance figures is this man, William Shakespeare. This picture might not be what he actually looked like. There's a lot we don't know about him. If you have some time, you might want to research the mystery behind who he really was. He is famous for writing and producing and acting in plays in his famous Globe Theater. This would be another awesome thing for you to build if you want to do a model. I can just imagine all the Legos it would take to do that, but it would look pretty cool. He is famous for writing plays like Macbeth, with a king who murders to get power, 3 witches who foretell the future. Romeo and Juliet, very romantic play. Hamlet, with its famous lines, "To be or not to be, that is the question." And the Renaissance, with its fascination with all things Greek and Roman. Shakespeare would not be Shakespeare without Julius Caesar, and he wrote many other plays with Greek and Roman settings as well. Now, if you learn more about Shakespeare and you're thinking, man, I got to read more of this guy, don't pick up just any old book. My advice, Look for A. Folger Shakespeare. It's got lots of good notes to help you understand. One more famous play of his, King Lear, he actually wrote when there was a plague and he was stuck at home. So there's a good modern connection for you. Enough on Shakespeare. So the unit overview, you're going to watch right after this, I hope, an introduction video, a little cartoon that'll give you an overview of the Renaissance. When you're done with that, it's time to start learning about the causes of the Renaissance, including the Black Death and reasons why Italy was the perfect place for the Renaissance to begin. Once you understand the causes, it's time to learn about the new ways of thinking that developed during the Renaissance, including humanism, secularism, individualism, and skepticism. And these all sound scary, I think, but they're pretty easy because this is the birth of modern thinking. So they should be pretty familiar to you. After you're done learning the basics of the Renaissance, it's time for you to go out and do some research. There are so many famous Renaissance people. You're going to pick 3 of them to focus on and do some research on. Once you're an expert on those 3 people, you'll get your choice assignment. Your options will be writing a speech inducting 3 members of the Renaissance into the Historical Figures Hall of Fame, telling a story about meeting the 3 people you researched, making a model of something you learned about and introducing it to us, again, like the Globe Theater or Brunelleschi's Dome, maybe a Leonardo da Vinci sketch that he drew but never made, like his helicopter, whatever. Find something you'd want to make. Or finally, if you want to do the artistic thing, make a comic showing what you learned about the 3 people. So when this 2-week unit is over, you'll be an expert on the Renaissance and will be able to use that knowledge to better understand the history you study in 8th grade and at the high school. In 8th grade, a lot of the ideas that go into America's form of government come from the Enlightenment, which is what will happen after the Renaissance, and there is no Enlightenment without the Renaissance. This is a really important period in history. Hopefully, through your research, you will also find an artist or writer to fall in love with. I don't know, maybe even Shakespeare, like I did. Good luck. Please ask questions if you have them.